Do you think that Facebook are being rather disingenuous when they say, well, she doesn't know what's really going on at the highest levels? Of course we know that, you know, we're doing everything we can to safeguard children and protect people from online harms. Do you buy it?
No, not at all. This shouldn't really come as any surprise to anybody. I'm sure it doesn't to you, it doesn't to me, I'm sure it doesn't to anybody that uses any form of social media. You know, this is an unregulated, ungoverned environment. You'll have heard the comparison with the Wild West over the years. People can say what they like, do what they like, see what they like, hear what they like, and there's no way of governing them. And Mr. Zuckerberg and friends know that. And they've known that for a long, long time. I mean, back in 2017, in Facebook's magnificent Q3 report, they said, you know, this is 3-4 years ago, even then they recognized they had something like 210 million undesirable users on their platform. 210 million, that's what? More than 3 times the population of the UK. So you have to ask yourself, if you know you've got 210 million undesirable users, why don't you do something about it? Switch them off.
But, I mean, what about this idea that Facebook is a threat to democracy, that it damages mental health, that, you know, platforms like Instagram are dangerous for teenagers and potentially quite addictive, giving them sort of all sorts of complexes about their self-image? Is it really the responsibility of the person who made the product to manage how people use the product? Or surely, you know, it should lie with the user how much they engage with it?
Well, of course, you're assuming that the user knows that what they're seeing and what they're reading is true in the first place. To be fair to the big tech giants, when they set out and created these platforms in the first place, they didn't create them deliberately knowing full well they weren't going to be safe. But they also, I mean, there was no such thing as safety by design then, and even only now it's just creeping into the terminology of the tech companies. But fundamentally, when you know categorically that you've written algorithms that almost are designed to propagate toxic content and hatred and so on, then all you have to do surely is detune those algorithms, you know, put in the catalytic converter to stop the exhaust fumes of Facebook and others as well. It's not just Facebook. You know, this is fundamentally a problem of whack-a-mole, because if you go and regulate Facebook, well, those that want to propagate hate speech and so on will go elsewhere. That's a fact of life.
Very interesting situation in the 21st century, with the all-powerful internet has sort of mushroomed into this behemoth with all these different platforms, and there's never been any regulation over it at all. Do you think that this is now a seminal moment where governments around the world, perhaps starting with America, turn around and say enough is enough, it's too influential, it's too big, it needs to be controlled by outside forces?
I wish that it were, but of course this isn't the first time that this has happened. The problem with regulation, and by the way, I know it's somewhat de rigueur to give the UK government a bit of a kicking, and I was intrigued with you reading those posts about Porris a second ago, but actually the UK government is doing a great job in tackling online harms. The trouble is that the forthcoming Online Harms Act is probably going to take 2 or 3 years before it's legislated, and meanwhile, you know, children are taking their own lives. I mean, 5 children a week in the UK take their own lives. That's the headline that we need to be talking about. And so we need to be acting today. Legislation will play a part, but we can absolutely deploy technology to tackle this technology. We can use artificial intelligence to be able to detect and filter in real time harm in live stream, for example. I mean, you're talking to me down the line, I'm talking to you down the line. If somebody were to interrupt this feed and start playing pornography, for example, companies like SafetyNet have got technology to filter that in real time. So we need the likes of Facebook and others to deploy it.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.